Hi, I am the 60-year-old Yogi. Tight hips are a recipe for disaster, so let's work on them. Tight hips can cause a lot of problems. They can increase your risk of lower back pain, and you might even one day need a hip replacement. So keeping the hips as flexible and open as possible is really important. For this class, we're going to start on the mat, because what we want to do is get the hips out of their usual job, which is bearing the weight of the body. There's a lot of weight going into the hip joint when we're standing up. So when we come down onto the mat, we can work out of gravity and really get the maximum benefit from the practices that we are doing. It's really important when you lie down that you have enough support under the back of the head so that your chin is level with your forehead, or even the forehead is a little bit higher. You don't want to end up in this position where we're working on the hips, but you're actually wrecking your neck. So support the back of the head and make sure you're comfortable. If the floor is hard and it doesn't feel comfortable on the back, put a blanket under your body as well. Once you're in this position, you're going to bring the knees in over the chest and either take the hands around the shins or around the back of the thigh and just take a gentle rock from side to side. And as you rock from side to side, rolling the head the opposite direction to the knees to put just the tiniest bit of twisting movement into the spine. And then coming back to center, and as you exhale, just squeeze the thighs in slightly. This is going to help to stretch out and release the lower back. And as you breathe in, let the arms straighten a little, knees move away from the chest. Exhale, draw the knees in. Exhale, release. And then take the hands down, palms down, and you're going to do some tiny circles, keeping the knees and the feet together. So this isn't working into the hips yet. We've kind of stepped back a couple of paces and we're working on the core, we're working on the structures around the hips, just strengthening those a little. So your circles may be really small around the sacrum, they may be a little bit bigger, tracing the outer edge of the pelvis, depending on how much core strength you have and whether you feel any discomfort as you do this practice. And then come back to center, place one hand on each knee and then let the knees come as wide as possible. So we're doing a kind of breaststroke swimming action, but holding the knees at the same time. So we don't really want to use our leg muscles here. We want the arms to guide the knees into these circles, with these circles getting a little wider with each rotation. And this is where you are really getting into the nitty-gritty of your hip movement and the amount of range of movement that you currently have. So don't worry, if you're right up here and the circles are tiny or it feels a little bit uncomfortable, then just breathe steadily and allow yourself to explore those sensations. We don't want it to be really uncomfortable or painful, but if this joint has dried out a little, has started to degenerate, maybe the beginnings of some wear and tear, osteoarthritis, which is one of the things that could lead to a hip replacement, you're going to have to work with what you've got and gently, with the breath, with mindfulness and focus and concentration, just gently explore how much movement you currently have and begin to hopefully slowly extend that. So let's change the direction of the circles. Remember, when we're working with joints, if you have inflammation in the joint, which is a symptom of arthritis, whether that's rheumatoid or osteo, you really need to respect that. You can't push through inflammation and pain. So it must be a pain-free range of movement with mindfulness and led by the breath. So next time the knees come together, let's take the left foot down and slide the leg straight, and either hold the shin again or the back of the thigh. And we'll do that same movement just to exit this practice. So exhaling, drawing the knee in, the same movement we did just before with both legs. Inhale, let the arms straighten. Exhale, draw the knee in. This left leg remains long and strong. I've got the toes pulled back, the quad engaged. It's not relaxed and soft and rotating out. And then change legs, take the right leg down, slide that leg straight, make it strong, shin or thigh. Exhale, draw the thigh in. Inhale, lengthen away. Exhale, draw the thigh in. Inhale, lengthen. Release the left leg, slide the leg straight, give the legs a little bounce up and down, arms beside the body, and now breathe in, take the arms up into the air and make the biggest stretch you can, all the way overhead if you can, or wherever you can reach to. Spread the fingers, spread the toes, lengthen the body. You'll feel you're slightly arching away from the floor, pressing the hips and the heels and the shoulders down to the ground as you stretch. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back. And when they touch the floor, just relax the legs and the arms for a moment. 2 more of those. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, soften. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, soften. And then bend the knees, feet are flat on the floor, feet are hip width apart, and just tuck the tailbone under, flatten the lower back against the mat, and extend the arms away from your body at shoulder height. On the next exhale, we're going to take the knees over to the side and roll the head the opposite way. And remember, if you've got something under the back of the head, make sure you've got enough of a cushion or blanket or yoga block that you can turn the head without it rolling off the edge of your block. Let's just hold this twisting position. Each time you exhale, trying to soften the body a little bit further into the twist. And then breathing in, coming back to center. Pause for a moment, and then extend the arms out once more and take the knees over to the other side, roll the head the opposite way, and hold the twist on the other side. And then breathing in, bring the head and the knees to center, draw the knees in, and take a little rock from side to side once more. And from here, we are coming up to standing. I'm going to use a chair for the next part of the practice. So once you're back on your feet, using the back of the chair to do the cat movement, keeping the knees bent, inhaling, opening the spine, lots of bend in the knees. Exhale, arching up. Inhale. And exhale. And just one more cat stretch. Inhale. And exhale. And then shuffle the feet back a little bit, stretch out the back. Use the length through the arms, the flatness of the back, the bend in the knees to lengthen out the spine, engaging a little with the core. And then with the chair turned around, we're going to use the chair for a little bit of support for a standing hip opener. I've got my hips against the wall. This is a really good place to be, to have the support. There's a little bit of balance involved in this. So what we're going to do is have the chair to the side, and we're just going to bring the foot up onto the chair. So I've got my standing leg nice and straight, and I've got in this case, my right leg up on the chair. And what we're going to do now is keep the bend in the knee, keep the hand on, and then just draw this left hip back towards flatness against the wall. So you can see the hip opening here. We've got this right knee turning out. It's nowhere near 90 degrees. So I've got the foot fairly near the front of the chair. So the knee is angling in. You can't really see that on a flat image. But don't feel that you have to have the foot back here with the knee against the wall. You're never going to open the hips back that much. So just finding that position, using this right leg to stabilize, and then drawing the left hip back. At the same time, keep the shoulders relaxed. And then when you're ready, turn the head away from the bent knee and take a few breaths here. Really notice what you feel. You should be feeling quite a lot of work through this right hip here. You're working through the standing leg, keeping the shoulders relaxed. And you're doing a little bit of twisting movement in the neck. Very nice. And then bringing the head back. And then this is a little bit of an extension activity. So just seeing if you can turn this hip in a little bit and straighten the leg or take it towards straight to add in a hamstring stretch to the back of the thigh here. Not all of you are going to get the leg straight, and you'll just be working towards finding that stretch. And wherever you get to, once you are there, so you've got the stretch in the right leg, then you can just open and draw the hip back again and turn the head. So a second version, a more challenging version of the same posture. And holding this for 5 or 10 breaths. Remember, all these stretches, all the work we need to do needs to be within your capabilities. There's no point trying to rush ahead, feeling the muscle shake or strain. You're just going to end up with injury. And when muscles feel themselves being put under too much stretch, they just develop a lot of tension to resist it. So it's actually a counterproductive approach. Always find that sweet spot where your breath is steady, you have mindful attention, and you're just working your body at that therapeutic edge where you are developing a stretch, you're developing flexibility, and you're not pushing yourself into that red zone of injury risk. To release from this one, just let the hips turn in, bend this right knee, take it off the chair. You could just turn around. I'm going to move my chair, but I'm still facing the camera. Still against the wall, bringing the other leg up now. We're going to repeat this. So take a moment to find a really good alignment. You want this knee to be tracking the second toe of the foot. So we don't want to end up with the knee coming in away from the wall inside the foot, and we don't really want the knee going the other way. Keep this nice secure lunge. Use the chair for stability. Make sure it's not going to slip, have it against the wall or on a sticky mat, and then draw this right hip back. And when you're ready, turning the head and breathe. Just 5 or 10 breaths, and then turning the head back, letting this right hip turn in a little and working towards a stretch in this left leg. Remember, you don't have to get the leg straight. You can keep the knee slightly bent. Find the stretch. And when you're in a comfortable position, then you can draw that hip back round. You'll feel a little bit of tightening down the inner thigh. And then again, turning the head and just enjoying another 5 or 10 breaths in this version of the hip opener, which is also an efficient leg stretch. So when you've done 5 breaths or a few more, then just bending that knee, turning the hip in, and mindfully releasing and giving the legs a little shake out. And as usual, following asymmetrical work, just bend the knees, nice big bend in the knees, and just take an easy forward bend. kind of bring the spine back to its midline. We're going to finish this class with a balance. It's a hip opening balance, of course. This is the tree pose. So have your hand next to a chair for steadiness or near a wall. And what you're going to do is just find the strength of the standing leg. That's going to be on the side of the chair. And then we're going to open the hip. So that's a rotation out. And just keep the toes on the mat there. So it'd be better to work here and then find your balance, bringing the palms together. If you were to lose your balance here, you know you've got the chair to grab onto or the wall behind you and not going to fall. When you're coming out of the balance, turn the hip in, release down. So let's try that on the other side. I'm just going to leave the chair where it is. Very nice. And if that is feeling really easy, you can come into a full version of the pose where the foot comes up the leg. So either the foot goes below the knee or above the knee. You may remember Mo Salah celebrated a goal by doing this pose, showing that, like all the other Premier League clubs in England, they're all using yoga as part of the training and flexibility preparation for matches. And release. Give the legs a little shake. That's quite a difficult and advanced pose. So remember, start here. You can even just place the other foot, the balancing foot on the standing leg, or on the lower leg, or up to the thigh. And if you don't want to let go, if you're feeling a little bit unsteady, just do one hand, or indeed come into two if you're feeling that this is a good day to balance. And then releasing forward, give the legs a little shake and release. And take a moment to notice exactly how you're feeling. If you have time, take a few minutes rest on the floor. Otherwise, take 5 or 10 breaths here with the eyes closed or downcast. Really notice how you're feeling. Notice how your hips are feeling. And enjoy the rest of your day.